Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sissy's Cards and Crafts. I'm Sissy. I'm an independent stamp demonstrator here in Eastern Ontario, Canada. Tonight, so I've kind of had a bit of a pause. Sorry about that. But we were doing our cards with the Filled with Sweetness set, so the stamps and the dies, and I ended at the box card, which was the one that usually everybody really likes. So this is my little box card, same sort of box that we've been using. It folds for mailing both ways. Lots of added things on this. And then the back, I took that jar and opened it up, and that's where we have our inside sentiment for that. So I thought tonight, let's get through this. For timing, I actually cut everything. So here's my piece. And if you go to sissyscardsandcrafts.com, I believe, .com, yeah, you'll find the cutting directions for this. So we're going to utilize this. Before I actually put it together, I'm going to take my pieces here. So when I did this one, I just put a fine little mat behind it. And I thought I would do a bit of a bigger mat here for this piece, mostly just to save on some paper. So you'll find it easier to put these on before you put the card together. But we're just going to stick that on here. And this is basically our background. It will go further. You're not going to see this bottom piece, so just make sure you get those top ones centered. Okay, so we'll stick some glue on there. How is everybody? Here in Canada, it is a holiday Monday today. It's August 3rd. Just wondering what everybody did. Some people had it off, some people didn't. So I hope you were one of the ones that had it off. We had a family get together today, and my son didn't have it off, but luckily he works rather close by, so he was able just to pop in after work, which was very nice. It would have been sad not to have him here. It's already sad enough that my daughter can't be here because she lives in Edmonton, Alberta, a far cry from Eastern Ontario. So unfortunately, we don't get to see her near as much. All right, so that's the back and the front. So we've got this back piece here and then this piece here put on. Now, I think I'm even going to put these pieces on. So this is that early espresso, and I used this pad here. Oh my goodness. My fingers just do not want to work. I used this Berber Plaid 3D embossing folder. It's a nice large folder, 6 by 8.5. You definitely need your big Stamp Cut and Emboss machine for that. And it gives this great little embossing. And I was kind of thinking when I designed this, the kind of like a the little strawberry baskets. That's baskets. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, it's just one of those times those words just, are coming to me. Now it's looking like I might have made a bit of an error in judgment in cutting that. It looks like I cut it a little bit short, but I think we'll be fine. We shall be fine. Mistakes happen. Just go with them. Don't try to make things worse by mucking around and worrying or starting over again. Just enjoy the process because, as you can see, everybody has mistakes or errors. I am going to just try to orient that so these main lines, I'm not going to match it up, but these main straight lines here do match. I want to make sure they are this is quite an in-depth folder. So some are embossed, some are debossed, and just make sure you're kind of getting it in the right spot. Okay. So those pieces are on, and then we're just going to glue this side together. And when you do this, this is the time you want to make sure that this folds. So when you get that stuck, just glue it down and then fold it the other way. Now you can see this isn't folding the other way, I think because I made that too long. So at least it's going this way. And I want to make note of that so nothing comes over this edge when I'm putting it together. And that sometimes happens with the box cards. Then you have this piece here that's in the instructions. Again, you can download these instructions from sissyscardsandcrafts.com. And you're going to go in here, and this is just an inch wide, and you're going to just put this inside and just set it just below the top edge. So the way I do this is I just put some glue on either end. And then I just kind of hold one end in and stick this in. And these folds are going to sit against the back. So because this is an inch deep and this little inset piece is 1/2 inch, those folds. So I'm going to put them right to the back of the card. And then they'll stick, and again fold it down. And I'm remembering that this is the way my card's going to fold the best, so I'm just going to put that down that way, and there we go. We've got that inside piece. You could cut it like it's cut exactly the same measurement. You could go down like 1/16 of an inch just to keep that bow from forming there, but I'm not worried about it. It's never really caused me any issues. All right, so then to embellish it, so the reason we put that inset piece is to put this piece on here, and then we're going to put one on the back. So what I did is I went to the paper that came with the sweet bugs. Stuff. And there is a page in here with all of these berries on it. And that's the one I wanted. So the one we used last time, that's what I was going for. So I found some leaves that I wanted to use. And because they're DSP, it's a lighter weight cardstock. So I just roughly cut out, as you can see, and I glued them to white cardstock. So then I can come in and I can fussy cut these out, and it's going to give it more structure. So depends on what you want to cut out. Do you want something that's just quite simple, or do you want to cut out maybe 2 simple ones or more of an in-depth one? What do you really want for your card? And by that, I mean, I could cut here and just cut off here and kind of have a partial berry on here, which would be fine, but just have the stem. Or like I'm going to cut this whole thing out. And it just depends on what you use of your DSP. So look at the DSP. What do you have? And maybe you've been using a lot of it and you don't have much left. So you're just trying to find something that will work, piece some stuff together, whatever it is. But I definitely suggest you glue that on some white cardstock before you do the fussy cutting, because you need some structure behind this, because it's going to be kind of a standalone. The one I'm putting on the back, and you'll see that in a minute, isn't so bad, but this one that's going to be standing in that middle piece needs some help. And I did a fairly good glue on here. meaning I put quite a bit of glue all over this piece, not just around the edges, because I am cutting into it. So I wanted to make sure it was going to be all adhered down and I wasn't going to be losing some stuff. So I think I'm going to just, well, I'm going to cut this out and then I'll come back. And with fussy cutting, don't be afraid to just like, okay, I'm chopping that off. I don't have to use that whole big piece, right? So I'm actually, I think I'm going to just cut this all off here because that buries in a leaf. And if I want, it's not, the leaf isn't full. And if I wanted the berry, it would be surrounded by some greenery. And I don't know. It's not what I want. But it's whatever you want in your card because it's your card. And whoever you give that card to will just be so amazed by it, they won't really even notice. I'm going to just chop this berry off because this leaf is really going to sit kind of out of sight. So I'm not so worried about it. And I think I'm going to do the same with that leaf there. I'm just going to kind of come down around like that. And now I can leave this here because I'm going to use that as my point of adhesion to just stick this on here. So I'm going to just put some glue here and then I'm just going to stick it to, and I could do it to the front or I could do it to the back. It doesn't matter. But then you can see how that leaf is going to go. You're not even going to see it, or that berry rather, and the leaf, I guess. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little glue. You could use some tear and taper glue dots with this, or seal if that's what you use. But you don't want to put like a full width of your seal, would be too much. So use your silicone sheet or something so you're just capturing the one part of that. Oh, now see, I made it. So that's gonna stick up. No problem. No problem. Okay, so that's going there like that. And then this is the piece that's gonna go on the back. Oh, somebody's dingling me. Somebody's messaging. All right, so then we're just gonna put this one in. And this just gives that dimension because a box card that's the big thing about it. It's going to have that 3 dimension. So somebody could sit it on their mantle or their desk and it just stands by itself. And it just looks cute. So we'll just fussy cut this out. And I did cut out a bunch of things already, so this will be a bit of a quicker card. I think I'm just going to leave that straight because I'm going to show you what I'm thinking here for putting it on the card. I'm just again cutting it out. Fussy cutting isn't really that fussy. It's just try to get good border around it, even border. And with this, it's going to be quite easy because we've used the same stuff for behind as what we did from in front. So what I was thinking is with that flat piece, I'm just going to measure that at the top here. So it was just going to look like that's where it should be. I'm just going to actually give it a straighter trim across. Okay, I'm going to put this on with dimensionals so it pops out. And I'm going to be generous with them because it's going to get pushed on when it's folded and stuff. And so I don't want it to bend in. All right, so this time I'm putting them on a little bit different than what I did with my other card, but I'm going to put them right like that. And this little bee here, I want to keep him. I'm going to use him, but the rest, just... Okay, so there's the bee. So there we go. That's going to be like that. And now you'll notice I have all these little berries on here and flowers. So there's the bee that I want to put on. But I'm going to get my mini dimensionals out here. And I did cut out all these lovely little strawberries. That bow we're going to come to in a minute. And these strawberries, I'm actually going to cover up some of the strawberries that are on here. And some I'm just going to add in different spots. I am going to keep them so as if it looks like they're growing off the bush. And maybe this one I'll keep more with blackberries. And you'll notice I used a little die in this Sweet Bugs dies. There's one little die that cuts it out. And I could have done, now that I'm thinking of it, I could have done some little blue or blackberries or blueberries as well. I didn't do that because I didn't think that far ahead, to be honest. I just made sure I could get some strawberries cut here. We're ready to go, I mean. All right. So I'm just going to put these on with some dimensionals. I'm just going to cover them. And I did use Poppy Parade, I believe, for these. You could use Strawberry Slush, but Poppy Parade was what was listed in the DSP. So I stuck to that. Just going to kind of put, so there's another one right on here. That little branch. I'm going to put one. Oops, my mini dimensionals, not the large ones. I'm going to make sure I have one to put over here. Maybe I'll just put 3 over here in this corner. And now that I think of it, I might just come back and do some blueberries. I think that would look cute. Strawberries and blueberries on it, since they're already there. Okay. We got those. And there's the little green ends too, which I did out of old olive. Okay, so then we've got our flowers. And I did these the same as I did in other videos, where when I cut them, I used some Post-it note tape, and I stuck the yellow or the centers on, and then I colored the centers yellow. I'm going to just kind of cover that because there's this little blueberry there that I don't want to see popping out. And I'm going to do this one here. And let's get a couple down here. So just put them wherever you think looks like a good spot for them. And these are kind of your embellishments for the cards, right? So they're going to do their little thing. And then we're going to put down here a couple of those little backings are crazy. Crazy. I'm going to put a couple down here, and then I'm going to take that little bee. What did I do with him? And I'm just going to fussy cut him out and stick him down with these little 2 flowers. So we've got a little bee on here as well. And this is just, it came out of the DSP, as you saw. It was not, there's no stamp or die or anything for the bees. It's just this on this one DSP. But there's been a few paper pumpkins and stuff that's had little bees, so use them. I'm going to just snip a little piece of this off that dimensional edge because I don't think even my mini dimensionals are going to fit on here so well. I'm just going to snip off a little piece, stick it down good. And then we're going to just stick our little bee here up with the flowers. There we go. Easy, easy. So that was how simple it was to decorate that. Then we have our, I had everything here. Let me see what I've got going on here. Okay, so my jar, that was it here. I'm gonna have these, oh my goodness, it's not. We had our pieces here. And I have done You're the Sweetest on one, and then this is going to go on the back of the other one. So in our Filled with Sweetness, we've got You're the Sweetest. And I'm just going to do this with, I think I'm going to do it with Memento Pink. Or actually, let me do Secret C. It's kind of nice and black, and I like the way it covers. You could use, and I would consider using Early Espresso, but mine's just not working. Oh, I got the wrong one. I got the wrong one. Love you very much one. Not the one I wanted. Okay, so take 2. All right, there we go. Double check. Okay, so then we're just going to center that on here. Now you could, by all means, stamp this first, then cut it out. That tends to be what I do a lot of the time, but for the sake of a card or hurry, I did that. Okay, so we're just going to close up for a second. We are going to use it again. I'm just going to put this on with dimensionals on here. And I'm just going to use the large ones, the large dimensionals. And I am going to put 4 because it's going on this paper, embossed paper. There we go. And that's where we've ended some cards. We've put something on the back here, and by all means, that's where you could just stick that on there, and that is your card. Like that is usually what our box cards are. But this kit came, or this set rather, came with this lovely big die that cuts out kind of a mini card. And what it is it's the jar for, oops, I didn't really want to fold that yet. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to pull out our Stampin' Positioner. I just keep it all up on it, hold it there. And we are going to stamp the jar. Because this is such a large piece, we're going to just basically do it with the with this positioner, and then that way we can make sure it's going to be a good stamp. All right, I just thought of doing it on the wrong side, but we want it on the front, so it's going to fold this way. So this is our front. You can line up with measurements and all that. That's handy dandy to do that. But really, what matters is that we get it in the right spot. And how we do that is we put our piece down, and then you're just going to lay your stamp without any ink on it. Lay it on your paper. Make sure it's in the position you want it to be. it's hitting all the edges properly. Okay. And don't force it because it will bend it at a certain way unless that's what you want. Then when you put your top plate on, make sure the, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing here. The logo is facing up and you can read it. And then you're just going to push this down and it sticks to this piece. Now, because I didn't have a magnet over here on this side, my paper kind of pulled up with my stamp. So I'm going to just kind of use my bone folder, and you can take and put a little bit of tape on there too. The reason I'm trying to avoid that is because this comes right to the edge. I don't really want to get it too close, so I'm just slightly going to catch that edge there and try to hold that down. Okay, so then take your stamp and flip it over and put your ink on. Sure you're getting all the sides, all the pieces. If you get it on your Stampin' Positioner, that's fine. If you get it in here, that's fine. This actually, or these little feet, keep it from hitting where it shouldn't be hitting. So, okay, so then we just kind of push it down in, give it a good rub all over, making sure it's going to adhere to that. And then let it up. So you can see I've missed a little bit here. So I'm going to do that again. Just going to ink it. And that's the beauty of this positioner is you can ink it again. So I just put ink on it. I close that up. Put this down on here. And then just make sure I've got it all down. You could even, if you want even pressure, take a block and go over it like that. Okay. And there, we've got that better. Part of it is this tape. It was lifting it up a bit, and you can see how I didn't quite get that. So let's just see if I still have enough ink on here to get that corner there. Yeah, much better. All right, and then you can clean your stamp off. For now, I'm just going to put that aside, and we've got our. And then what I did is I took to find my marker here. Bear with me. I took my light cloud cover and I colored it. So you can see on here, I colored it in so it looks like there's like it's glass. And so you can kind of hit those high spots, basically where the lines are, and go over them first to give it a little bit more darkness. Don't worry so much about the top here for a second. And then when you come in, try not to go over the lines, but then you can kind of consider that this is round. So this one's gonna go this way. And remember, the alcohol markers absorb in, and they act differently than your other markers or pencil crayons. So they don't leave quite the lines, as the best way I can say it, as what other markers or pencil crayons will do. But really, we're just making this look like there's it's glass or frosted glass. It's not. And we're putting something on top of it anyways. So it's not supposed to be 100%, at least in my mind. Just going to flip it over so I can get it. And you'll notice I'm using the brush tip because that will cover a larger area quicker. You just kind of want it to hit. And this tends to dry a little lighter than you thing too. So then we'll just hit this top and putting a bit of an angle on it here to make sure it kind of looks like it's rounded rather than straight across. There. Okay. Again, I don't want it to look perfect. So now I'm going to fold that card. Now I cut out 2 things. There's this one that's actually meant to go on the top like that. And you could stamp it. There's a stamp to go on the top, but of course I'm not going to be able to stamp on that foil too nicely. But I just wanted to give you a look as to what that could look like. Like here's the stamp that could go on that. And you could do that if you had stays on ink, or even if you wanted to emboss it, that would work to put those lines in there. But I wanted to use the cloth. Now with this one, I used DSP, that was the Strawberry Slush DSP, and it didn't quite match the gingham in the back. So I'm like, I'm just going to use an actual Poppy Parade one. And with all of that accent in there, like all that little stitching stamp, or the die cut stitching rather, I just think it looks pretty cute. Okay, then we have our ribbons here. And I thought, I was sure I had, and I'll find it probably tomorrow, the sticker paper, I forget what it's called, but I call it sticker paper, where you could put it on here, stamp, die cut it, and then you've made a sticker. So I couldn't find that. So we're going to actually have to use glue. But this is going to go here. And then we're going to put our bow on here. But doing that gives me the opportunity to show you how this glue works. So we want to put this on. I'll use, actually, let me use this. So this is an empty dimensional sheet. You can see there's a couple dimensionals left, but it's slippery. So if we get glue on it, it's not going to be a problem. We're just going to take our glue and we're going to just try to get a little bit on here. I've seen where people are taking sponges to do these thin areas, and that would work. But I think if you just go slow enough, you can just get these fine little edges. Just make sure you are getting the back side of it, not the top side. And when you do a die cut, it's so hard to show it to you on camera. But when you do a die cut, you can see there is a top and a bottom. So just make sure you're doing the bottom. And then you're going to just hit these edges. There. And then I'm just going to let that sit for a second. So a couple things we're going to do is we're going to put this on. And I think I'm going to put this on with dimensionals just to give it a little bit of a lift, at least on this top part here. So I'm just going to throw these on here. And beware, there is going to be a little bit of folding happening, and that's fine. You're not really going to notice it. I'm struggling with this last dimensional here. Okay, so we're going to put this on here. Just make sure you're getting your dimensionals covered. They're down in on your card. Okay. This one can go down a little bit. Should have looked at the back when I put these on. All right, so just slightly. Okay. So when you go to fold this on your card, or open it rather, this is going to fold over. And that's really not a huge problem. Why am I struggling so much with this? It just doesn't look right to me. Try one more time here. One more time. Slowly pull it off. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Okay, let me just kind of get my head in the shot here. see if I can get these on without them sticking over the backside. There we go. Perfect. So you'll notice too, you can see your coloring behind. If that bothers you, then what I done is I cut out another piece. So I did the whole die cut with the big die, and then I just put that piece in there. So if that scribbling in there bothers you, then do that. Or just take your dimensional, maybe stamp another jar and color it in as well. Not a big problem. Okay, so if you see these now, these look clear. You can't see that white glue on there. And so that means it's repositionable, but I can put it on. So if it's repositionable, so if I kind of hit the wrong spot, I can pull it up and rejig it. But it's also not going to squish glue all over, and I'm going to get white glue showing. Okay. And then we're going to just stick that bow on there like that. There we go. There's our jar. And we're going to put this tag right on the front that says homemade. We're going to use, or I'm going to use, the homemade for you one. Just like this. And then again, a couple dimensionals to put it on. And I also did a strawberry here, so I stamped the strawberry. I colored it in with my blends, and then I stuck it on. But I think I'm just going to skip that. You can put whatever sentiment you want inside there, and then this goes on the back. And I just glued it on. So that is how I made these cards. You could make a whole set of these little cards. Kind of one thing I want to do. And give them away as little note cards. I think that would be cute. And like I say, something I want to do. All right, so I'm just going to put that on there. If you're finding you're having a hard time gluing it down, you can turn it upside down and do that, because we do have a lot of dimensionals on there. It makes it a little bit difficult. But there you go. You could, instead of doing those, let me just see if I can find. Where did they go? They're probably in that one. Thank you for bearing with me on this. I'll use these little strawberries here to put on here. So just stick a little strawberry there. Instead of cutting out one, you can just put, I think one is good for that. I think I like that. And then, like I say, inside. If this bothers you, just cut another piece and put in there. And you can see how when I opened it, that folded it again. It's a homemade card. All right, let me know what you think. Pop something in the comments. I appreciate it. And the set I will be focusing on next is the violet one. So what is it? Oh, I had it here. The framed violets. So there's a few cards that I have designed for those. So join me this week to fill out or to create those cards. All right. Thank you. Take care, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye.